It started with a click. Not a big bang, not someone shouting. Just a small dry sound, like metal tapping. The noise echoed off the big mountains behind the outdoor shooting range. A gust of wind blew across the rocky ground. Dust danced in the air. Paper targets moved. Empty bullet shells rolled and made soft clicking sounds. The man who usually blew the whistle to start didn't make a sound. He was frozen in place. In lane 7, one man stood still. He didn't act tough like the younger guys. He didn't grunt or show off like some of the older men who wanted to feel strong again. He just stood there, calm and quiet. His legs were spread a little, like he knew how to stand just right. He breathed slowly, like he was listening to music inside himself. His moves were careful and smooth. This man looked like Jason Statham, the movie actor. But here, he seemed more like a quiet worker. Maybe a welder who fixed machines, or someone who used to be a mechanic. His skin looked rough, like he had worked hard in the sun. He wore old boots and a hoodie pulled up over his head to block the wind. But his sleeves were rolled up just a little. That's when the instructor saw something on his arm. A tattoo. It wasn't a fake one. It was old and faded, but real. It had a SEAL trident, a sign that only special Navy SEALs had. Not a Hollywood design. Not something from a tourist shop. It was the real deal. The instructor, his name was Trent, was a tall man, thin but strong, maybe 30-something years old. He had also been a Navy SEAL before. When he saw the tattoo, he stopped moving. His eyes narrowed. He tilted his head, like trying to remember something important. There was something about the way this man stood. It felt familiar, like something Trent had seen during war. The calmness, the focus, the control. The way the man looked after he fired the gun, cold and relaxed, was not normal. This man wasn't shooting for practice. He was remembering something serious. Something from before. But that's not where the story really started. 2 days earlier. 2 days before, a dusty old truck drove into a small, quiet town in Montana. There was a sign at the edge of the road. It said, Hawthorne County, respect the quiet. A strange motto, but it fit. Nothing ever happened there, and the people liked it that way. Jason stepped out of the truck slowly at an old gas station. The signs hadn't been changed in over 20 years. He moved with a slight limp, like he had a hurt leg from long ago. But he didn't seem weak, just used to the pain. He filled up the gas and cleaned the windshield. His eyes watched the road. It was like he was waiting for something to happen. But nothing did. Inside the store, a young worker with messy hair was looking at his phone. He didn't even look up until Jason placed a bottle of water and a protein bar on the counter. The boy glanced up. He looked at Jason's face, then paused. Like he had seen him before but couldn't remember where. "You new in town?" the kid asked. Jason nodded once. "Just passing through." The kid didn't say more. But after Jason left, he quietly took a photo of the truck's license plate. That evening, Jason checked into a small motel by the road. The sign outside blinked on and off. The doors opened right into the parking lot. He picked the last room at the end, the corner room. That way, only 2 walls needed protection. The other 2 could watch. A habit from long ago. He didn't carry much. Just a duffel bag. He paid in cash. No name, no questions. An old woman ran to the front desk. She had white hair tied back and one foggy eye. She looked at the cash, then at Jason. "You're not the type that causes trouble," she said. It wasn't a question. More like a memory. Jason didn't speak. He just nodded. He didn't want a receipt. He didn't want anything. That night, he didn't turn on the TV, or the big light. Only one small lamp glowed in the room. He slowly opened the duffel bag. Inside was a black shirt, a military-style jacket, and a gun wrapped in cloth. The gun was old but clean. Underneath was a tight case that looked like it had papers, but it didn't. He took out the gun first, checked it, cleaned it, and wrapped it again. Then he just sat, waiting, but not for anything in particular. Early the next morning, Jason went to the shooting range on Hawthorne Ridge. It was just a few wooden booths lined up, with targets far away. The ground was gravel. A flag hung limply on a pole. A few others were already there. A dad and his son, learning to shoot. A group of young guys in too much gear, trying to look cool. The instructor, Trent, had a clean look. Square jaw, sunglasses, and a patch on his shirt showing he ran the place. He was a former SEAL too, now teaching people how to shoot. Jason signed in using just messy initials. He paid in cash again. "Lane 7, Trent said, pointing. Jason nodded and walked down to the spot. No talk. No questions. He placed his case down carefully, opened it like a doctor opening a box of tools. His hands moved quickly but quietly. No wasted moves. He checked the wind not by looking at the flag, but by watching how the dust blew. He looked at the targets before even lifting his gun. Trent didn't like the feeling in his stomach. This man was too good. Then Jason fired. It wasn't loud or fast. Each shot hit exactly where it was supposed to. He didn't smile. He didn't act proud. He just reset and fired again, like he had done this more times than he had driven a car. Then the wind picked up, and Trent saw the tattoo. It was just above Jason's sleeve. Faded, but clear. A SEAL team code. A date in Roman numbers. And the trident. Not new. Not flashy. Just real. Trent stepped closer. Not to bother him. Just to be sure. Jason didn't turn to look at him. He didn't need to. His body shifted just a little. Not scared. Just aware. Trent's stomach felt colder. He had seen that tattoo before. From a SEAL team that didn't even exist anymore. Back at the desk, Trent opened a secret app on his phone. Only old SEALs used it. It helped them stay alert when someone strange showed up. He typed in the code and the Roman numerals. The result came back. No match. Redacted service record. Honorably discharged. Classified unit. Status. Retired. Conditional. Trent blinked. Conditional meant this person could be called back. But Jason didn't look like someone waiting for a call. He looked like someone hiding from one. Now Trent had to choose. Say something? Or stay quiet? Because this wasn't just another tough guy from the past. This was someone trained to find ghosts. And now, he was awake again. Trent had seen tough men. He had walked through war. But now, he felt a dry throat. Jason's eyes weren't angry. They didn't show pride. They just looked right through him. Calm and calculating. After a few quiet seconds, Trent finally spoke. "You're ready," he said quietly. Jason gave a tiny nod, like saying, "I got the message." Then he turned back to the bench. No cheers. No pride. Just the click of the gun reloading. Trent stepped back without thinking. The power had changed. Everyone around could feel it. From the next lane, a young bearded guy leaned in. "That's the ghost from Kandahar, right?" Trent didn't answer. Ghosts don't like being named. Jason took one more shot. Perfect hit. Then he walked away. No cleanup. No goodbye. Just left the rifle on the table. In the locker room. Trent followed him into the locker room. Not like a boss. More like someone curious. Jason took off his gloves slowly. Old scars showed on his hands. Some were pale. Some deep. He opened his duffel bag and pulled out a gray hoodie. As he started putting it on, Trent spoke. "I was trained by Logan Morrow," he said. Jason froze. Hoodie halfway on. He looked in the mirror. "She used to talk about a teammate," Trent added. Didn't say much. Just said, if he ever came back, listen first. Talk second. Jason turned around. Arms down. First time he moved to speak. "Is she still alive?" Trent nodded. "Promoted. Teaches counter-hostage tactics in D.C. Jason looked down. A long pause. Something cracked open. Maybe a memory. Maybe a promise. Trent stepped back. "Didn't mean to get in your business," he said. "It's just, you don't forget a name like hers." Jason nodded again. Slower this time. Then zipped the bag and walked out. Outside, Jason walked to his truck. It was old. A rusty green Land Cruiser from the 1980s. The back bumper was held on with wire. And just like that, he was gone. Quiet as he came. But now, everyone at the range knew. The ghost was real. And he was moving again. He threw the big bag into the back seat of the car. Just as he closed the door, a voice called from behind him. "Do you still have the coin?" the instructor asked. Jason turned around and looked at him with serious eyes. He didn't say anything at first. "I saw it once," the instructor said. "The coin that Logan Cale gave your team. Back when you cleared that safe house near Fallujah. They said only 3 men made it out. 1 quit the service. 1 died in Manila. And the 3rd one disappeared." Jason took a step toward him. Not fast, just close enough. He put his hand into his jeans pocket and pulled out a silver coin. It looked old, with black marks and scratches. A falcon was stamped on it. Jason didn't give it to him. He just held it up so the man could see it in the light, then put it back in his pocket. "I still don't like being asked questions," Jason said, then walked away again. By now, 2 or 3 other people nearby had started whispering to each other. A teenage boy, standing behind a safety wall, whispered, "Who is that guy?" One of the staff members just shook his head. "Not someone you mess with." Jason drove away from the gravel parking lot, the tires crunching on the stones. The instructor stayed there, arms crossed, like he wanted to say more, but knew it wasn't the right time. Hours went by. A light rain started falling on the small town in the mountains. That evening, Jason stood in front of an old building. It was a place for war veterans. The rails were rusty, the sign flickered, and the flagpole was broken. He walked inside without talking to anyone. No one tried to stop him. Inside, a kind-looking older lady with gray hair sat behind a big pile of paper files. She wore glasses low on her nose and tapped a pencil on the desk. "You're late, Reed," she said. Jason sat down in the chair across from her. "It's been a while, El Mero didn't smile. She just looked at him carefully. "I heard you were dead," she said. "Heard it from someone who said they zipped the body bag themselves." Jason looked away. "They zipped up something," he said. "But it wasn't me." Elle tapped her desk and let the silence sit in the room for a few seconds. "Still angry?" she asked. Jason shook his head. "No point." "Still dangerous?" she asked. "Only when people don't leave me alone," Jason said. There was a pause between them. Elle reached under her desk and pulled out a thin file with red tape on it. "You know why I called you here," she said. Jason opened the folder. Inside were black and white photos. One showed a young soldier with bruises on his ribs. Another was a picture of a damaged weapons locker. The third was a blurry phone picture of the SEAL instructor from earlier. His face was hurt and bleeding. Jason stared at the photos. Quiet. "There's a problem in the training program," Logan said. "They're hurting the wrong kids. Some of them are dropping out. One even tried to hurt himself last week." Jason didn't say anything. He just closed the folder. "I want you to go back in," she added. Jason leaned back in his chair. "I'm not that man anymore." "Maybe not," Logan said. "But the people running this mess still think you are." That was enough. He didn't reply. The lights above them buzzed softly. Elle stood and walked over to a wall where an old map of the training facility was hanging. She pointed to the bottom corner where the old shooting ranges were. "They're using this space for private drills," she said. "Off the record. No one is watching them." Jason stood up. "You'll go?" she asked. He adjusted his jacket. "I'll watch." "That's all I need," she said. But in Jason's eyes, it was already more than that. The wooden gate creaked as Jason stepped into the old training range. There were no lights. No one was watching. Only the soft sound of the wind over dry dirt. Old, rusty targets leaned sideways like bones from an old war. His boots sank quietly into the gravel. Every step was soft and careful. He heard voices from the shadows. Not just one, maybe 3. Jason moved to the side of the bunker entrance where they couldn't see him. From there, he could hear everything clearly. A young man's voice sounded nervous. Another voice was louder and mean. It was the SEAL instructor. Jason didn't move. He stayed still, breathing softly. His arms were relaxed. Then one sentence hit hard like a sharp knife. "You either survive Range C," the loud voice said, "or we find someone who can." Then came a cry of pain and the sound of a body falling on gravel. Jason stepped inside. Nobody noticed him at first. The three men were too focused. One of them, a young black recruit, had a bloody lip and was kneeling, trying to breathe through the pain. Another recruit stood nearby, looking uncomfortable but not helping. The SEAL instructor stood tall, holding a clipboard like it was a weapon. Then silence filled the room. The instructor turned. He saw Jason. His eyes went wide for a second. Then he smiled a mean smile. "You lost, old man?" the instructor asked. Jason didn't move. He looked at the hurt recruit, then back at the instructor. His face didn't change. The instructor walked closer, trying to look tough. "This isn't for spectators," he said. Still, Jason didn't talk. The air felt heavy. One of the recruits shifted nervously. The instructor looked at him, annoyed. "Eyes front," he said. Jason finally walked forward. "Let him up," he said quietly. The instructor laughed. "Excuse me." Jason didn't say it again. He walked past the man and went straight to the injured recruit. He held out his hand. The kid didn't take it. He looked confused and unsure. Blood ran down from his lip. Then the instructor grabbed Jason's wrist. "You don't get to tell me how to run my program," he said. That's when Jason moved. He twisted the man's hand away easily and stepped in close. Too close. The instructor stopped breathing for a second, surprised. Jason spoke in a low, cold voice. "I built this program." He wasn't lying. The instructor stepped back, shocked. Then Jason rolled up his sleeve. On his arm was a small, old tattoo. It showed a black falcon holding a compass. It was the mark of a secret SEAL team that was shut down many years ago. A team that no one talked about, unless you were part of it. The room felt different now. The two recruits looked at each other, amazed. The instructor couldn't move. He looked frozen. Jason helped the recruit to his feet. This time, the kid took his hand, slowly. Jason didn't say anything. He just made sure the kid could stand. That was enough. The instructor finally spoke. "That tattoo? It's not possible. You're supposed to be gone." Jason cut him off. "I was." Then someone called. The instructor looked down, unsure of what to say. He didn't feel powerful anymore. "You want to push these kids hard?" Jason said. "Fine. But do it right. Not like this. Not in the dark." The instructor tried to explain. "You don't understand these new kids. They're soft. They don't know pain." Jason's voice got deep and strong. "You don't teach pain. You teach respect, discipline, honor. This is just hurting people in a uniform." One of the recruits spoke up. "Sir, I didn't join to hurt people like this." Jason looked at him and nodded. "Then don't." He checked on the others, making sure they were okay. The kid with the bloody lip looked at him with thankful eyes. "You good?" Jason asked. The kid nodded. "Yes, sir." Jason started to walk away, but the instructor shouted, "You have no authority here." Jason stopped. Then he slowly turned around and walked back toward him. "You think this range belongs to you?" Jason asked. The man tried to stand tall. Jason pulled something from his back pocket. It was a small card. Not a badge. Not a military ID. Just a quiet-looking card with a symbol on it. It was the kind of card that opened secret doors without a sound. "This range was built by my people," Jason said. "Signed off by a woman named Logan Kale." The instructor blinked. Jason held up the card again. "You're not just out of line," Jason said. "You're off the record." That hit hard. He put the card back in his pocket and walked away into the night. As soon as he was gone, the silence broke. The instructor stepped back, his breath shaky. The two recruits stood there, still trying to understand what just happened. Far away behind them, the old gate creaked closed again. Jason didn't look back. The sky was dark now. The lights of the range faded behind him. Jason walked into the trees behind Range C. The trees weren't thick, but they made shadows dance. His boots were silent on the dead leaves. Every step was careful. Every breath was quiet. But Jason wasn't walking just to think. He was going somewhere. Back at the bunker, the instructor had made a call. That call didn't go anywhere. It reached people in a secret SEAL network, a network Jason once helped build. Even though it was shut down, some wires still had power, especially when fear spreads fast. When the instructor said the name Mororo, the voice on the other side didn't ask who he was. They asked just one thing. Is the old man still dangerous? Now Jason stopped at a small metal panel hidden in the ground. He pulled a tiny magnetic pin from under his belt. It was army gear. All black. Click. The panel popped open. Jason was just getting started. He opened the box slowly. Inside, it looked like no one had touched it for 10 years. There was a dusty black case. He used his thumb to open the latch with a click. Inside the case was a taken-apart M4 gun, a little book like a journal, and a tiny computer drive with the words, "For Logan Cale only." He only took the journal. He put it in his jacket and left the rest. Behind him, some branches made a snapping sound. Jason didn't move. He just said, "You should have kept running." A person stepped out from the dark trees. He was one of the older students, not the one with dark skin, the other one. Now his face looked scared. No more smiles. "I didn't know who you were," the man said quietly. "I thought you were just an old man." Jason tilted his head. "But you followed me. You wanted to find out if the stories were true." Jason walked closer, never looking away from him. "And what do you think now?" The man looked nervous. He swallowed hard, then reached out his hand. He wasn't trying to fight. He was saying sorry without words. Jason looked at his hand for a second, then walked past him. "You're lucky," Jason said without looking back. "You'll live long enough to make better choices." Back in the secret building, some alarms went off quietly. They didn't make noise, but they turned on stronger security. The kind that protects old heroes, like Jason Statham. He used to be a Navy SEAL, a top fighter, with special secret tattoos. He was a legend. People thought he was gone. But now, someone saw him. One of the workers scanned Jason's face using a hidden computer. A big boss with 4 stars got a message about it. 1 hour later, the SEAL trainer stood in a dark room with 2 serious men in suits behind him. A video played again and again. It showed Jason walking in, beating the trainer, and showing his tattoo. One man pointed at the screen and paused it. "That tattoo," he said, "isn't just for SEALs. It's from Mororo's private team." The other man nodded. "If he's back, the others might be too." The trainer looked confused. "Others? What others?" But the 2 men didn't answer. Back in the woods, Jason found something buried. It was a sealed envelope, hidden under a tree that had been dead for years. The envelope had one word on it: Dustlight. It was something you only hide when you want to disappear forever. But sometimes, the world doesn't let you disappear. Jason opened the envelope. Inside was a photo. It showed 6 people wearing black battle gear. No names. No badges. In the middle stood a younger Jason. On the back, someone had written in pen, "If this photo is ever seen again, the circle is broken." Jason folded the photo and put it in his journal. He wasn't back to get revenge. He came back because something had started again. Someone was trying to erase the past. But they had messed with the wrong person. Somewhere else in the building, in a special weapons room, another alarm went off. Someone tried to open a locked vault called the Observer. The man had a visitor's badge, but the computer knew who he really was. He used to work in secret black ops. He knew Jason was back. But he wasn't trying to hurt Jason. He was trying to find him. Later that night, Jason came back to the training area. He hid the journal under a loose piece of metal at Station D. Then he lit one match. He let the smoke rise and watched the wind carry it to the east. It was an old signal. No sound, no tech, just smoke in the air. Minutes later, a motorcycle appeared. Its light flashed in the dark. Jason heard the engine. It was her, Logan Kale. She wasn't dead. She had just been hiding. She took off her helmet. She was older now, with dark eyes and gray hair tied in a braid. She didn't speak. Jason gave her the photo. She looked at it, froze, and said just one word. "It's begun." Jason nodded. "I saw the look on the trainer's face," he said. "They're starting Dustlight again." Mororo said a quiet bad word. "If this spreads, we're all in big trouble." Jason looked at the trees. "They're not just starting it. They already sent someone. Someone followed me earlier." Mororo's eyes went wide. "You think it was him?" Jason paused. "I know it was." Then they both heard it. A soft whistle from the trees. It was slow, repeating. A warning sound. Jason's eyes narrowed. Mororo knelt down quickly. The past wasn't just calling. It had arrived. Final scene. Back at the training center, the trainer looked at a report. It had all of Jason Statham's secrets. He flipped to the last page. It had a big warning stamp. Echo Protocol. Do not fight him. Call Mororo. But it was too late. Someone had already put a reward on Jason's head. And it wasn't the government. It was someone from his old team. And they just arrived. If you enjoyed this story, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I love hearing from you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on the next thrilling adventure or mysterious twist. Thanks so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring.